Okay, for using Spring JDBC in MVC application, we just have to add couple of jar files, extra jar files in this project. Like for example, you can see in this I have added one Spring TX and one Spring JDBC. Okay, two extra jar files have been added, and this is where I have created a simple driver data source with driver class, username, password and URL, all properties specified. Now let's create another bean. This is going to be our JDBC template, which we will inject in our DAO class later. So for template, it's org.springframework.jdbc template. Okay. Yes, I guess JDBC template is further inherited by few classes. Let's see if there are any inherited classes of JDBC template in core package. This is JDBC template, and it's not in here. Okay, wait a second. There is a sub package called core.simple. Let me check there. Yes, there is simple JDBC template. Can you see this? Simple JDBC template. It is actually inherited from your JDBC template class. So it does provide all the properties of JDBC template. Simple one. Let's see what all properties we require here. First property that we require here. Wait a second. There is some problem here. Fully qualified name of bean class. Have I made a mistake? Except it serves only as a parent for child bean definition. Let me check why exactly it's not working. Oh, it's deprecated. Okay, let's get back to JDBC template then. JDBC template. For JDBC template, let's use a property of it called data source. Here we'll provide reference to data source. Don't you think property name and reference both are same, right? So instead of explicitly writing property setter or property injection like this, can we just use autowire by name? Let me tell you how it can be done. When you think your property name and the reference bean name, they are exactly same, then instead of writing like this, you can actually write autowire equal to by name. What this mean? What this mean? If JDBC template requires a property, it will match its property name with any reference bean name. Now JDBC template requires data source, right? So it will simply check whether there is any bean whose ID is data source, and if it is there, inject it automatically. Yes, example of autowiring. Example of autowiring. But if you want clarity, just perform autowiring or just perform wiring manually. So whatever option you want, you can choose. Okay. This was just to show you a real example, real life example of autowiring. Okay. It's up to you if you want to use it or if you want to explicitly wire it. Okay, you should not use auto-wiring if there are multiple data sources. This is another feature of Spring. In Spring, you can actually create more than one data source. You can name them data source 1, data source 2, data source 3 or DS1, DS2, DS3. But in that case, inside your template class, you need to explicitly specify which data source you want to inject. Right? Like here you can write name is data source, reference is equal to DS1 or DS2. You can write it like that.
मल्टीपल में ऑटो वायरिंग नहीं होगा?
नहीं, मल्टीपल में ऑटो वायरिंग कैसे होगा, है ना? Because there will be multiple beans. Okay. Let's do it. See, multiple में ऑटो वायरिंग is possible, but then out of number of data sources, there must be one data source whose ID is exactly same as this property name data source. अभी जैसे तुम्हारे पास डेटा सोर्स 1, डेटा सोर्स 2 है, तो ऑटो वायरिंग विल ऑलवेज वायर डेटा सोर्स, नॉट डेटा सोर्स 1, डेटा सोर्स 2 और डेटा सोर्स 3. नेम एग्जैक्टली मैच करोगे, और टाइप से करोगे तो एक्सेप्शन आ जाएगा. if there are multiple beans with same class. Okay, now, so this is JDBC template, this is data source, right? And we are going to inject this template directly into our product service class. Where it is? Yeah, here it is. Now, let's just delete this list of product. We don't need it. And instead of that, let's write AutoWire. Now, let me use one more annotation here. Qualifier template. Now, what this annotation will do? Any idea? Huh? Any idea what this annotation does? Qualifier annotation. If you use only AutoWire annotation, it will always perform auto-wiring by type. It will always perform auto-wiring by type. By using qualifier, you will force auto-wire by name. So from your Spring Bean configuration file, it will search for bean whose ID is template and it will inject it. Right? Default is always auto-wire by type. And you can override that default by using @qualifier. But one more thing. Using @qualifier without auto-wire annotation is strictly not recommended. Why? Just @qualifier annotation is useless. It always comes with @auto-wire. One more thing. You can write @qualifier first and @auto-wire later, or you can write @auto-wire first and @qualifier later. That doesn't make any difference. Okay? @qualifier may appear before or after @auto-wire. It still works. But @auto-wire is required on the same field. Yes, वही कर रहा हूँ. Forces @auto-wire to wire by name instead of type. Is that clear? Now this statement is not required now. Yes or no? Inside constructor I have written products equal to new linked list. This is not required because we are not using any linked list kind of thing here. Now don't you think our add method will be changed? We'll have to write something else in this add method. What else? Let's create or let's access template dot. Where is update query? Execute update we need. Okay, there is single execute method. Yes, here it is. Update. Okay. What we will do is we will create an update. We will call template.update method with two arguments. First argument is SQL query and second argument is arguments to be passed. Now let's see how easy it is. Insert into products values and let me pass 3 values in here. How many values? How many values we need? 3 values. Okay, and here we write p.get product ID, p.get name, comma, p.get description. All 3 values are passed. I've been passing 3 values there. How many values? 3 values. Okay, like this. Now how do we get all the products? Yeah, but for that what method we need to write? Query method. Which method? Hello? Query method. Query method along with row mapper. Query method along with row mapper. But don't you think we need a row mapper implementation to be made first? Let's create our own implementation of row mapper. Okay. Oh, wait a second. I'll have to first check whether my database has product table or not. If it is not in there, I'll have to create it. So let me just go to VirtualBox. Okay. It's in Windows XP. Okay, anyway, let's continue with row mapper meanwhile. Product row mapper, which implements row mapper interface of Spring Framework.jdbc.co. Can you see it's a generic one? It uses a type attribute T or template attribute T. Now let's replace that T with product and finish it. Now here we need to import this product first. Okay, and for product manager, Eclipse is already giving me a hint. Add an implemented method. Okay, method is there. Now you know how to do it, right? We first have to create a new product object. New product. Okay, return this object P, and in between these two statements, let me add my logic. P dot set name. Wait a second. This argument is result set and this argument is row number. Okay. Now what we should write here? P dot set name. rs dot get string, and let me write here name column. Set product ID. Here I'll write rs dot get int and column name is product ID as the column. P dot set description. Here we'll have to write rs dot get string description. Now this column name should match with your actual database table column names, and then return that object. So it's a simple row mapper. Let me check WinXP. Sorry. Okay, let this Oracle service start up. After it is started, we can just connect to it and create a table if it doesn't exist. Okay, it started. So now we can connect using HR username and HR password. Select star from products. Select star from product. There is no such table called product or products, so we'll have to create one. Create table products. What should be first column? Product ID, which should be number. 3-digit number is enough, primary key. Then there should be a name, which should be varchar of size 25, and then there should be a description, which should be varchar with size 200. A small table kind of. Let's add a dummy record into it. Insert into products, values, product number 101, Bisleri, 1 liter, and description में I'll write mineral water. Okay, so one record is already there, so I'll just commit it and I'll exit. So there is a database. There is a table called products, and that products table contains 3 columns: name, product ID, and description. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. This should match. Now SQL mapper, row mapper. Sorry. What here I'll do for listing all? I'll write query select star from products, and here I'll provide row mapper instance like this: new product row mapper like this. Yes, don't you think it is lot easier than writing plain JDBC code by your own, on your own, right? Okay, this is obviously going to return a list. So what you have to do is write a return statement and provide typecasting. Why typecasting? Why typecasting? Because it simply returns list, and we need a generic list. It returns raw list object, non-generic one. Okay, now how about size? How do we know how many products are already there? How do we know how many products are already there? Any idea? Can we just call some method?
Max rows, get max.
There is a method called query for int. Select count in bracket star from products. Now this is a highly sophisticated method and quick. Okay, but it's deprecated.
So max rows से भी चल जाता शायद ना? Max हमारी rows देखेगा.
Query for int is deprecated. It must be replaced with some other method then. Check documentation to find out which method we should use instead of query for int.
Max rows चलेगा?
Max rows is different. Max rows is used with set style, set max rows. उससे क्या होता है मालूम है? अगर सपोज तुमने ये ऐसा कुछ लिखा है, ठीक है, यहाँ पर एक पता है एक सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है. What if your product table contains 1 billion products in database? You don't want your program to just load all 1 billion products, right? So what you should do? You should set maximum rows there. Like for example, if you say set max rows 100, it means it will just fetch first 100 records and not all the records from table. Right now our table is very small, so we don't need that kind of structure. Okay, anyway, even though method is deprecated, it is still going to work. Okay? What methods? Yes? Query for int deprecated है, so have they provided any other option for it? Anyway, do that later. Let's check find method now. How we should change this find method now? Now this find method is going to be quite easier. Okay, what we will do is, I'll write
So query for object ऐसे लिखा है.
query for object लिखा है. अच्छा.
Why? Query for object है क्या इसको?
Wait a second. Query for, yeah, there is a query for object.
So they are saying कि replace instead of use that. यहाँ पे दिखा भी कैसे दिखता है?
Yes. I'll write a query. Select star from products where product ID is equal to question mark. Okay. Wait a second. The syntax says row mapper. क्या हुआ?
अच्छा आपने row mapper का भी है. अच्छा
हाँ, row mapper भी है. ये वाला मत यूज करो, ठीक है? हाँ, ये वाला. एक सेकेंड. No, these are object arguments. हाँ, this one. यहाँ पर मुझे देना है एक array. So I'll just put around brackets. Curly braces there. ID. New product row mapper. एक सेकेंड. किस एरे के बदले में सिंपली आईडी लिख के छोड़ दूं तो भी चलेगा.
दो ही पैरामीटर है ना?
एक सेकेंड. नहीं, थर्ड पैरामीटर वाला भी है. एक सेकेंड. wait. ID is integer, but wait a second. It was expecting an array, so we have to somehow make an array out of it. So what I'll do is I'll make an array of objects like this. Clear what I did? I made a new object array. That new object array contains only one ID. Okay, what is purpose of this object array? This object array should provide values to all the parameters or placeholders in this SQL query. So there is only one parameter required, so only one element in that array. Okay, and we should simply return it. Return. Okay. Anything that we need here? It's a query for object. Yeah. Now please listen now. What we should do with remove method now? Don't you think this part of code will remain same? It's because if it is not there, it will not be there, right? Okay. But then what we should do, if it is there, there should be a method. So let's call this method. Oh, not execute. Update method again. Remember one thing, update method can be used for two different purposes. Number one, insert, and number two, delete. Okay, sorry, not just two, three purposes. Insert, update and delete. All three operations can be performed through update method. So what we should write here? Delete from products where product ID is equal to question mark. And here again, let's pass only one value, that is ID.
So find यानी search है ना?
क्या है?
Find यानी search ना?
हाँ, search and find is same.
Where लेता है कि like लिखना पड़ता है?
क्या बोले?
Products where product ID लिखना पड़ता है कि products like product ID equals to?
Like ऑपरेटर तो हम लोग strings में यूज करते हैं ना? Like is pattern matcher. You need to provide a pattern, percentage and underscore देके. You can't use like on integer values or numerical values. On numerical we simply use equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, all this kind of operations, right? Like is for varchars or character data. So now don't you think our service class is ready? Our service class is now ready. हाँ बोल. Now let's see next. Okay, first of all, I no longer need this read only attribute here. Yes, because we are not going to calculate next product ID. We will allow user to add a new product ID. Okay, and something we need to change in product controller also. Okay, we are not going to set new product ID now. Okay, we are just calling this new product and add it to form. That's it. Okay, like this, like this. Rest of this program will remain same. There is no changes required in this program. Now if I want to run it, we'll just have to call run on server, next finish. Okay, add new product. Now you need to manually enter product ID, which is, let's say, 102. क्या लिखूं product name? Okay, Pepsi 100 ml. Unknown substance in liquid form. हाँ, no health benefits but still popular. हाँ, ठीक है. You can see now there are two things. One is Bisleri and one is Pepsi, right? And for both of them there is a delete link. Now what will happen if I want to just delete this Pepsi 100 ml? Just before that, let me go to my database. Let me call run SQL command line, connect HR/HR. I just want to see if it is already added to database table. Select star from products, Can you see Pepsi 100 ml here? Now, if I delete it from here, I got redirected to this product 102 and successfully deleted, and now there is only one Bisleri. Now if I go back to WinXP, if I run this query again, 102 is gone. So even my insert and delete, both operations are working fine. Yes everyone? Both the operations are working just fine. Yes or no? Good.